Hi, everybody here. I'm Realtor Gino Tazzi at Johnstone & Johnstone Realtors. I'm here with Christopher DeRozier from John Adams Mortgage. We're just running through all the events that have happened the last week or two, really the last week. You know, a lot of developments in real estate, in the economy nationally, internationally, starting to have an impact locally here. Now we have not only self-imposed quarantines, but mandatory quarantines in a way that, you know, bars and restaurants will have to remain closed. Schools will be remaining closed until sometime in April. So we have a very fluid situation going on, and we just, you know, we want to tell people that this is not the time to panic. It's the time to maybe think before you do stuff. You know, definitely be more thoughtful in how you do things, but now's not the time to panic. As far as your thoughts on the interest rate, Chris, what do you think's going to happen? Because the Fed just lowered the rate down to near zero, and how will that impact mortgage rates?
So it's a great point, Gino. You just said something that I kind of want to touch on. There is a common misconception that when we hear that the Fed has lowered rates, that's the Fed funds rate. So that's what the Fed lends money and banks borrow money back and forth at. There's no actual direct correlation between that and mortgage interest rates. Sometimes they will follow each other, but the Fed fund rate impacts more prime rate, which affects credit cards, bank, auto loans, bank loans, adjustable rate mortgages, but your fixed rate mortgages follow the bond market more. So yesterday, yes, it was a huge announcement from the Fed that they were lowering that Fed fund rate. But what they also announced was that they were going to be buying $500 billion with a B, billion dollars worth of treasuries and $200 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities.
Oh.
That will affect the bond market, which will help, if nothing else, stabilize the mortgage interest rate market.
Okay.
So while we may be looking at the analogy that I've used for the last month and a half or so has been using a yo-yo on an escalator where there's a general direction but there's some volatility. Yeah. I think the goal and what we're going to see is more of like a moving sidewalk that's moving, but there's a lot of volatility day over day, week over week in this short term, but we're in a general good direction. And this is, again, not the time to panic. Obviously, within the last few weeks, we saw the lowest mortgage interest rates that we've ever seen in the United States. So we have a ton of volume. The mortgage market is fantastic right now. We have historic levels of volume in process right now. We, especially at John Adams, we're prioritizing all of our clients to make sure that our turn times and our process is still in place, mm-hmm. and everybody's still getting the service that they deserve. There's going to be some things that we're in a time right now where we're in uncharted waters, mm-hmm. and we just don't know what's going to happen. We have, you know, some things that need to get figured out here, and we're working on getting those. So everybody, you know, while we're taking the time to, you know, wash your hands better and, you know, social, what's the term? Social distancing.
Yeah.
You know, let's also keep in mind that we're going to be in a good spot here. Realistically, my belief is that we're going to be in a very good spot, historically low for the rest of the summer. So we're going to have some time to get mortgages done for you. We just need to make sure that we take care of the more important things, which is get ahead of this and flatten that curve. Right now, we've got a curve on mortgage interest rates that's pretty flat.
Good. And we need to keep that curve
Absolutely
flat on the outbreak for COVID-19 as well, which I know that people are doing. It's just that people need to also stay calm. I know right now the stock market's very volatile. The situation's fluid with employers. Fortune 500 companies are establishing COVID-19 task forces, things like that, to be proactive, be on top of this, so that they can all stay in business. And that's the goal this year. But I think, you know, if you look at the economy, what probably is likely to happen, and based off of the statistical modeling of the impact of the disease, is that we're going to have some sort of recession. We're already in a correction territory when it comes to the market. We're in a beer market. It's already gone down over 20%. and it's just normal to assume that, but people don't need to panic about it. It's not likely to be anywhere near severe as 2008. The only way that would happen is if there was no social distancing, and then we would definitely have a very major impact from the outbreak of that disease, which would obviously, put chills on the economy and cause a free fall like it happened in '08. But this time around is a little different, and so the way I'm seeing is we're gonna smooth out that curve, but it's also gonna cause a little dip in the economy because of that. But that's better than having a spike and having panic and riots, because the economy will spike downwards to depths that might not have even we've experienced before. So it's something that we need to be very mindful about and think before you do things. Make sure that you wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't touch others. I know it stinks. It goes against our very nature, and that's why we got to be very mindful of that. But we're all going to keep working here. I'm still showing homes. I think right now, as far as the local market, it's actually a great time to sell because there's so few homes available for people. I had a home that it took a while to sell last year, and then we were like, you know what, let's take it off the market, and that was back in the fall, and we put it on the market in mid-February. I told them, look, there's nothing available like your home in your area, and it sold in 12 hours. We had an offer accepted. We're closing next week, next Friday. So the time now to buy and sell, it doesn't need to be put off because of this virus. What needs to be done is you need to be more mindful of your personal hygiene, getting together in groups. Obviously, these are things that are uncomfortable for us because we're social beings. But if we're smart about it, our economy will be fine. People will still be buying and selling homes. Mortgages, lenders are still going to be writing loans. And as of now, the situation is actually very good for the housing market. And we don't foresee anything similar to 2008 at all. Actually, house prices are supposed to rise this year, even with the impact of the virus. So I hope that everybody here, do you have any other observations that
No,
off the top of your
just
head?
patience and understanding, and communication is going to be key. Communication is going to be a little bit different than it's been for a while. There's not going to be as much face to face. So
Yeah.
whether you're working with myself, whether you're working with Gino, or anybody else, it's going to be pick up the phone, call, text, email. Communication is going to be key in making sure that everybody involved in a transaction is aware of what's going on, and just some general understanding that we're going to have to figure some things out that we've never had to figure out before throughout the entire process. So some things might not be impacted, some things might take a little bit longer to do, but know that communication is going to be the main key, and just really staying focused.
Actually, that's such a good point, Chris. When you talked about communication, the light bulb kind of just went off, and I think the difference between something like this situation and the Spanish flu of 1918 was the difference in communication. People nowadays are fortunate enough that we can communicate instantaneously. We can track the spread of the virus. There's so many advantages that we have now that we never had in the past, and I just hope that people take advantage of that, use their cell phones. He pointed out to me, like, he wasn't sure if he wanted to do this, and I totally understand. I'm watching the news last, I'm like, are they sitting too close together? Am I doing the right thing? And we're thinking, if obviously the situation changes, maybe we can do this remotely, through a FaceTime or a Skype session, and obviously might not look as good as this picture quality wise or something, but in order to get some content and stay on top of the situation and inform our clients, this is something that we want to do. So we appreciate your time listening to us, and we hope that you have a great day. Stay healthy. Obviously, if you do get any sickness, please self-isolate. Use common sense. So, thank you.